Evening. I was going to be a gentleman and open the door for you.
Oh, thank you. I couldn't figure out what my car was doing. Thank you very much.
Yep. What are you doing? Well, I better not complain. How you been? Oh. Okay. I'm going to do something a little different this time. Just set it up so I ain't wearing the dang thing. Might be a little better too.
Okay.
So usually we get the freezing or close to freezing or slightly below, and 2 days a week on. It just seems like it's been 45 or right. She's not here yet.
I'm trying to think if she's not here.
Yeah. 24. The first day we were here when we had bought our property, we bought our RV, it was 28 that night. Good. Yeah, these heat pumps are not really made to keep up with. I woke up the next morning and let the sun come up a little bit and lit the fire. That thing burned for like 2 weeks. Right.
I guess I am. She left him in the car.
What's that?
I got some paperwork I wanted to share. All right, that would be. Let me go get this paperwork. I'll start it.
You were out directing traffic today?
We'll call our meeting to order for January 14th, 2025. If you would, please stand for the invocation.
Our Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for the many ways you work in our lives. Lord, we just ask you to bless this meeting, bless this night that we have together. Lord, we just ask you to bless our neighborhood and watch over us, each and every one of us, Lord. Lord, we ask a special blessing for the ones that's having all this fire damage out in California. There's ones that's lost their lives, homes, and everything, Lord. We just ask you to be with each and every one of them. We ask these things in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you, Wayne. We'll pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we do a roll call, I'd like to welcome our three new members, Bonnie Blackwell, Terry Boyette, and Chris Harris. I appreciate it. And we have a full board tonight, so it's great to have you folks on board. Gonna miss Mike Davis and Sammy King and Gloria Spivey. Appreciate all the work and service that they did for the past few years. So what we'll do now is we'll do roll call, and Judy, I think you'll give us the roll call.
Okay. Glenn Hunter,
Here.
Tom Trammell,
Here.
Vonda Ackerson. Here. James Baker.
Here.
Bonnie Blackwell. Here. Terry Boyette. Here. Chris Harris.
Here.
Tommy Matthews.
Yeah.
Wayne Sellers.
Here.
Charlie Thompson.
Here.
Terry Lester. Here. Vicky Olson. Here. Vicky Sellers.
She's out.
She is out. And Hilda is also out. Do I need to read the alternates as well?
Yes, if you would, please.
Okay, Mike Conley. Oh, Lori Lilly. Here. Kim Kolkata.
Koi card, like koi card.
Dusty Trejo. Okay, that's it.
Can we spell Kim's last name?
Koyko. Like toy card, koi card.
How do you spell that again?
Koykar. Koi card.
It's not what it is.
So I need a motion from the board to approve the excused members, which all are excused.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. That's second.
Motion by Trammell and seconded by Wayne. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we need to elect the chairman and vice chairman for the 2025 year. I see a lot of eager folks wanting to look at the chair position. Oh, Mr. Chairman, you,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like to nominate Glenn Hunter for the position of chairman of the Treeco Board of Directors.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second, but from discussion, is there other interested parties that would be interested, in the chairmanship that have a lot of experience and, understand pain and suffering?
Mr. Chairman, I would move nominations cease.
Okay, we need to call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, you have a copy of the agenda, board members? Oh, we didn't do the vice chairman, I'm sorry, thank you for correcting me on that. So we need to have somebody needs to be nominated for vice chairman.
Tom Sherman.
We have a motion to.
I'll second that.
Second by Charlie Thompson for Tom Trammell as vice chairman. Any other nominations? Okay, we'll close the nominations. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Trammell. Okay, you have a copy of the agenda. We need a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
A motion by Mr. Thompson,
Second.
second by Mr. Baker. Any discussion on the agenda? Not hearing any. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to minutes. Who's doing the minutes tonight? In absence of the secretary, you have copies of the minutes?
Yeah, I gave them all out. Anybody see anything wrong with the minutes?
She sent those out last week, I believe, and held it before. Should have had time to review those.
Well, that's how it came to me.
Change the font on the computer.
Yeah, I got a thing on the minutes that says, under number 16, open meeting, where we, thank Ted for his part in disrupting the blessing box. They put down giving box, but it's a blessing box. That needs to be changed to blessing box. And I'd also like to say, he done a fantastic job. It looks really good. We got to put in one of them over at the, boat ramp on the Suwannee County side.
Okay. Any other, corrections or errors, board members? Okay, we need, have a motion, to approve the minutes with the correction.
Make a motion to approve the minutes with the correction.
Motion by Charlie,
I second.
second by Wayne. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Secretary's report, Hilda's not here. She has no report other than the messages provided. Okay? Is that, what you're understanding also from the cases? All right. We'll move on to treasurer's report. Vonda, you gonna do the treasurer's report?
I can do it, I can go over it. We should get Vicky on the phone. Okay, this is for the December 31st, 2024. So the Seacoast Bank, the checking account, ended balance with $68,374.34. The reserves, which is the savings, is $503.60. The Seacoast CD has a balance of $51,816.56. And the Seacoast membership, which is another checking, which all of our membership fees feed into until we're ready to move them to the working fund. The total for that was $7,904.85. So that was a total of $128,599.35. The monthly, outgoing to checks were $4,905.98. Auto drafts were $774.75. So our total expenditures were $5,680.73. Interest on savings, we saved a penny we made. Interest on the CD was $193.23. Electronic deposits were $4,725, so total deposits were $4,918.24. So we had a beginning balance of $74,055.07. Subtractions were $5,680.73, with an ending balance of $68,374.34.
That's in the operating account.
Yes.
I was trying to see, it looks like everything was,
It wasn't that major.
there's nothing major, anything different.
We was wrapping up 24.
Does anybody see, there's nothing really that's out of. So, let's see here, give me a sec. So I guess this, on the last page, the profit and loss, comparison, so they have the one column for December, then there's January through December of 24. And total park management was $40,990.84. Repair was $1,400. Total expenses, $135,554.53. In net income, I guess what was that, the carryover, Carrie?
Yeah.
$42,231.42. Any questions?
Any board members have any questions on the finance report? Motion to approve would be in order.
I make a motion to approve the financial report.
You have a second? Okay, any discussion on finance report? Not hearing any, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to the president's report, Terry.
All I have to really talk about today is I've had 3 people apply for hardship on their membership dues, and I wonder how y'all wanna handle that this year.
Okay,
What did we do last year?
We've just been like putting a can out and let people donate money and then how to make money up to make people help.
I think there were two people requested
Yeah,
some
I had a
assistance.
third one that called me the other day, she didn't really want the whole amount, just something to help break it down a little bit smaller than what it was.
Right. So, how did you do the can last year? Was
We
that
put it out here, people, we put money in that wanted to donate to people's memberships.
You put a can outside? or
No, on the table, on
table?
Key Day.
Okay,
On Keating.
okay.
I've already had
On
one
Key Day,
person
okay.
donate $100 to go towards people's memberships so
Okay.
far.
Okay. Board members, any thoughts on that?
I think we need to continue it the way we was doing it, worked out all right last year, didn't it?
I'll see whatever we take in and divide that between
Yeah.
the hardship requested.
Yeah, I think it'd be unfair for the board or the association to pay for it, because then all the members are having to pay for that. So if that works that way, we wanna certainly not encourage everybody to come up and try to take it, take use of that, but we wanna kind of, because then we're gonna be forced to go into some kind of criteria where we're gonna need to then begin to look at returns and all this kind of stuff and determine just what the need really is, and that's gonna be very, very complicated, I think, in the future. So if this system will work this way, why don't we just leave it that way?
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
one question, how is it dispensed? How does that work? The money that you actually do it in, like putting cash in there, what are they doing?
Cash, or they can have a check, or,
So, then how is it taken out of there?
then
We
they would
take it
put
out
it
of
towards
Key Day.
membership.
You take it
Yeah, and we count it, and Vicky.
Fortunately, last year it came out, so
There's
both
exactly
were
enough
paid
people.
for.
Yeah.
So, no one else has access to that, right? So we can go through you.
Yeah,
And it goes straight into the repo account, or the bank account.
the money goes to that membership. Whoever gets the hit, okay.
Do you stop collecting once you get the amount of money you need for the 3 people?
Yeah, you can stop that.
Okay, board members, are y'all, everybody good with that? We'll just leave it that way, then that seemed to work well, so. All right, then, anything else, Terry?
That's it, I was just wanting to talk about that.
Okay, we'll move on to the park manager's report, Bill.
It's really kind of shaved down, one of the board members keep on.
And we all appreciate that.
Absolutely. Good job, Bill.
First, I'd like to welcome all of the new board members. I know most of you are, I know meeting the other few. I went out and replaced some boards, in park, program park over on the other side that a tree had taken out, waiting on the neighbor to remove a stump. So we can continue fixing that fence. It needs only about 6 or 7 boards to finish. But there's, if we're gonna do anything with the fencing, we need to discuss that, Tommy and I, because it's, the fence that we're saying is ours is really not ours, it's on the neighbor's. So on the other side, the other way around. The blessing box was installed, as I've already stated, and we had some great volunteers help install it and build it, and you know, it's wonderful. Usually the same people, and they step up to the plate, and I very much appreciate that, as well as I'm sure most of the members of the people. We still have an issue with people going to the parks, the dogs that are undesignated, more so during the winters. If I don't catch them, or, and if I don't hate using that word, if I don't drive up and see them, nobody knows or says anything about it, they just allow them. And when I question them, they act like it's, well, it is winter time, and I realize that, I tell them that, I said, but even people in the winter time don't pick up after their dog, and, then maybe. So, that is still an issue. I repaired proceeding in the park, tightened it up, put some lights on, over the last month, and, most of the parks are pretty quiet because of the weather, and, Brandon Park is now usable, ground's dried up enough for people to get down to the wall down there. We're gonna finish that up. It's usable. You can get down to the water with the steps and everything. That's gonna be on our project list to finish that up. And, Polonies continues to be our servicer for all of our portable toilets. That includes cleaning, putting toilet paper in them, everything. We don't do it. We pay them to do it. So, if they're running out of toilet paper, which none of the other ones do, unless people steal it, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
Happens all over the world.
Happens all over the world. So, that's my report, and, let's all have a good new year.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to take just a moment to recognize Bill for doing an outstanding job. I mean, I think all of us can say we've been very pleased with everything he's done, although he has had to up his medication to deal with some of the people he deals with. But I think he's done an extraordinary job, and I personally appreciate it. And also I'd like to point out that he's getting all up in age. He's been around since the Dead Sea was just sick. And, he's now, as of yesterday, 67 years old. So,
Happy birthday!
anyway, I just want to wish him a happy birthday and thank him for the work he does here. Thank you.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Thank you.
Anything else, Bill? That's it? Okay, we'll move on then to Communications Committee, Vonda and Charlie.
Alright.
You can do it.
Okay, so we'll also go with membership. As of right now, and we actually took these numbers, we have more checks, we have a lot has come in the past week. But these numbers are the numbers that have been, we've already taken care of all the checks, and these key numbers have been sent to the stamper. So for Columbia County, we have 176 members paid so far. In the Suwannee County side, we have 49 paid so far. So a total as of this moment of 225 members total. But there's a lot more that has to be processed. Key day is the last Saturday of the month, January 25th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you have already paid, you can pick your key up that day. It'll be ready to pick up. If you have not paid, you can pay that day by cash or check. If you want to pay ahead of time, you can pay through treepo.net. You can go down, scroll down to the bottom, and there's a little membership renewal button. It's a big green button. Click on that, and you can pay online. If you know of anyone that's not a member, they just bought property, we just need to get a copy of the deed, a recorded copy of the deed. They'll need to fill out a membership and then pay the dues. And then up until you can pay through the 28th of February, and there's no late fee. And then March 1st, a late fee would start to be incurred at that point. Let's see. The blessing boxes, which you've heard mentioned several times. So far, no one has utilized it. It's there, but so the food that was put into it has not been used. So encourage your neighbors. If you know of anyone that does need the help, the food's there. It's on the Suwannee County side at the boat ramp.
So
And there were some.
How does that work? How does it work?
So
People put stuff and then
yes,
people
you
come
can
and
put
get stuff?
So is someone in need of food to feed themselves, their family, it's
That's
free
today.
to take what you need. Then other neighborhood or members, whoever would like to donate, you can always go and put some food in there, non-perishable things that.
So it doesn't lock and
It
you don't
doesn't.
have to have permission or for
Nope.
somebody?
Anyone that is in need.
They're all in view of the camera though, right?
Yeah.
Must be-
This one is right there as you go in the gate on the Swanee side, on Boat Ramp Park. And, I don't know what that is, but there's a bunch of stuff in there.
Reduce sodium something.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
And someone was complaining about it, saying that the Busy Bees can do whatever they wanna do, and that's not true. They brought this to us at one of our board meetings, the board members voted on it, it was a good idea, they funded it, and really it's members that put it together, built it, painted it, and
That's right.
have done it, and, so now it just kind of, helped, so those are now property of Treepo. I mean, it doesn't really matter who owns what, but it was okayed by all of us. And hopefully it'll help people out that really need it, because, if you look at the price of eggs lately, they should be golden at the grocery store. Have you looked at eggs? I picked up a dozen, and I put them back there, $7.99 for a dozen eggs. Anyway, and also another thing, someone keeps saying membership's $300, it is not, it's $175, it's the same as last year, it did not get increased. I think that's it, any other questions?
Yeah, the only thing I would say about the blessing box is who is actually monitoring, what's the regularity on that monitoring?
Neighbors will just kind of keep an eye on it,
I'll check it. when
and
I
Bill will
deliver the
check
car.
it to make sure it's not
Well,
sitting
we just don't want it to
empty.
get too far out and not,
What they do around town, like in Fort White and Branford, somebody in the community could post on Treepo, hey, I just filled up the blessing box with food, and you can post anonymously or whatever. And allow everybody, on the Facebook page, let them know that you just filled it up or put some things in there. And whoever might be the last person who notices it's empty could put a message on Facebook, hey, the blessing box is empty. In case there's
I want
anybody
steak,
knows.
can I put my
Yeah,
name up
right.
there?
Special request.
Non-perishable.
That's kind of what everybody around town's been doing, so I don't know if that would help.
you can.
I think Teddy suggested doing a, like, maybe we could put a little flag on it, like, you know, put the flag down if it's
Empty and full.
empty and full or something like that, but that might be something, you know, that you have to physically drive by to see that.
So, yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it, cause it's out
I'll
and
do
about,
my
or
best.
any member, anybody that sees it, that
Yeah.
needs more food, or,
Okay, sounds
We
good.
look at it pretty regular, so.
Okay, I just was thinking down the road, if it gets out of, you know, out of sight.
But I like the idea that if we see it empty, put it out on the
Yeah,
Facebook
absolutely.
page or somehow, so the neighbors will know it's
I don't know if
empty.
that's what's in it
And when it's
today.
full.
I just looked at
Yeah,
it
there's some
today.
stuff in it,
Yeah,
yeah.
so maybe put that on the Facebook page and let people know that
Yeah.
it's got food in it and go utilize it.
so the one for Columbia County is still, being painted, but it's been so, cold for Kathy, has, issues when it gets cold. So, I think that was it. Anybody have any questions?
Okay, well, we'll move on to new business and projects, and also we need to go ahead and get our 2024 tax return filed, so, Vicky's not here, but we need to get that information to Carol, get that done. So it's a simple one-page form,
I'll call Carol Mark, get her on it.
okay. Tom, you wanna give us an update on the, Swanee boat ramp?
Yeah, we got the survey done, so but it's in drafting right now, we haven't, drawn up the drawing that's gonna be necessary for permitting. And, I'm a little scared that we're gonna have a problem out there, cause, if you go by there, you'll see where the benchmark is on the utility pole, and it's a spike in the pole. That's the elevation. The elevation that they've written on there is like 26 something.
27.6.
27.6.
Mhm.
And of course, most of us in the Three Rivers is
33.
in the 30s.
33, yeah.
So, and if we're gonna be 1 foot above, that's gonna be pretty high. And I suspect we're gonna end up with something like we have at Brennan Park.
Is there anybody in, that lives around the boat ramp in Swanee that knows the 100-year flood elevation there?
34 feet,
It is 30,
34.
yours is 34. It used to be 34, they recalculated everything down. Still, the water still comes up the same level, it's just how they calculate it based on what they shot the 27 at.
So that's gonna be well above the roof of the bathrooms.
Yeah, fit that night.
So we just have to deal,
Build
when I get the
treatments.
drafting, we'll see where we are.
What about putting it up on the pole and then running another line over to the bathroom? That's what they
Yeah.
had done before.
Yeah.
The part that broke off was coming from that hole over to the bathroom,
Yeah,
Weatherhead.
we'll work something out.
Then we gotta move the meter on.
Leave the meter on the pole, telephone pole, just make the steps to go up.
I think that the building inspector from Swanee County will tell us exactly how we have to do it.
Yeah, lately,
If you understand what I'm saying, so, and I don't know that they're gonna allow you to have a disconnect there under the water. And that might be the issue, I would assume, so I don't know how
I
that's gonna
think
work.
the disconnect would be on the
Yeah, James?
telephone pole.
Can we,
Right.
if you're gonna run the power to the bathroom anyway, can we just make the power there, if it's gonna be a higher elevation?
Then the building,
But it's, I guess the building's gonna be under the 30
Yeah,
floodplain also?
if you get the 100-year flood, that bathroom is gonna be all underwater.
yeah.
The
Kinda
whole
like Hot
building,
Springs,
everything.
Yeah,
so.
so I think we're just really gonna be, held to what the building inspector, says that we can do. There'll be some alternatives, but that's what we'll be held to. Okay, so we'll be waiting to get that drawing, that information back from the surveyor.
Could be anytime.
And then, you and I were gonna go talk with the building inspector,
Yeah.
and see what we can get done.
We get some new underwater toilets too.
Yeah.
boundary survey included, not included, I know it's separate, but did you request for a boundary survey, cause you said there was something wrong with the
Yeah,
fence,
it's
is that
just there.
included? Okay.
And you can see it, it's pretty obvious, so.
Oh, it's considerable,
So,
like 20 feet on the, away from that one.
Okay, so now let's talk about this building here. We talked about doing the renovations of this building. I met with Tommy Matthews on this building, and we've approved a dollar amount to start work on this building. And what we're proposing is that we basically just do cosmetic work, nothing structural. So we would technically, well, basically what we would do is tear these walls out. Take the structures here, the sink and this stuff out, and come back and probably replace the windows, new flooring, and rework the ceiling and the lights. So we think that we can do it for a whole lot less than what we were proposing to do to start with. So we want to get started on that. It's a little bit cold now, so we would have to displace our meetings depending on how fast we got started, but we're proposing to start after the February meeting, and that would throw our meeting into March. So if we can start work on this after the February 11th meeting, we think that would be a good plan to get started with. Any thoughts from board members?
If anybody has any carpenter type people that they know of that I could contact, it'd be nice.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, are we sure that there's not gonna have to be any structural, reinforcement like this floor? It's pretty bouncy, I mean, are there things that we're gonna have to do, beyond what we might have anticipated to start with?
What we were talking about on structure is that we wouldn't affect anything that had to do with the trusses or any support walls. And all these walls are underneath, the roof trusses or the, roof trusses. Not load bearing, correct. So that'll keep us out of, having to get, getting a major contractor to come in and do the works. And we'll basically contract out the flooring, probably contract out some of the electrical and stuff like that, but we'll work with the licensed people on that. Any questions, board members? We're trying to keep the cost as low as we can, because the amount of money that we can save here in the budget, we can apply somewhere else.
Any AC?
We're proposing, maybe a couple mini splits on each end of the building with a central compressor, and have a couple mini splits, and they can operate independently. Quiet, yeah, they're very quiet, so that seems to be the best route right
And
now.
those would be reverse cycle where you have the heat in there.
Right,
When you say we're starting,
and there'll be no plumbing to have to be done, so all the plumbing's coming out.
you talking about the work starting, or we starting getting the bids on it?
Start working on the work, we're basically gonna keep, each of these are gonna be separate bids, so we will actually, when I say bids, we will get a flooring person or whatever the electrical is, we'll hire a couple of carpenters.
Yeah, okay,
If you understand what I'm saying, so we can do a lot of that work ourselves.
okay, great.
And we won't need to pull a permit if we can stay under a certain dollar amount.
Yeah.
Any questions, board members? On that, okay. Do we have any old business? Only thing I could think on the old business is the bike path. It's been a lot of concern for a lot of folks. They've continued to make improvements. The Suwannee County Recreation Department, which manages the bike path for Columbia and Suwannee on this part of the process here. You've seen some improvements they've made with the standards they put in the middle of the way. They put some new fencing up. We're gonna be meeting with the power company who has the lease. The gentleman I'm supposed to meet with, and James was gonna meet with, had some surgery in December, so we expect him to come back in the next week or so. And we'll be talking to him about actually finding a solution to closing off all of it to tubers. Cause once that gate was opened up, it just opened the flood, and that's, you know what's gonna happen when the season comes, especially when they start shutting the parks down, they're gonna just be filing for the year. So, they're very anxious to do that, and they recognize the liability associated with it, so very favorable to find a way to get that done. I think we'll be able to do that. Any questions on that, board members? Okay, we'll move on to committees. We've got got some committee appointments we wanna put in place, and I wanna recommend Tommy Matthews and bring Bill Brim on the maintenance committee and leave them there where they are. So I'll agree to that. Also like to, on the communications committee, leave Vonda and Charlie heading that up. And then we are gonna start a new committee, which Bonnie said that she would like to chair, and it's got some folks that she'd like to bring on, which we're gonna call it a code committee to look at rentals and code violations under what TREPO has to work with. It's something that we really haven't talked about for a long time, but Bonnie, you said that you'd be willing to take that on. You have a couple of folks to work with you on that. I'd be glad to work with y'all on that also. It's not gonna happen, it won't happen overnight, but once they can, I think, meticulously get into it and look at what we have and what we can do, I think it'll be a great committee. So we're good with that,
Yeah, she's mentioned her a couple times, there's a lady that, rents a home across the street from ours, and she's contacted me, so we're gonna.
And Hilda was
Hilda
Hilda.
too.
And, Mr. Chairman, just for the sake of clarity, that would include both, deed restrictions as it relates to TREPO along with county violations. Is that
yeah, county, well, the county code enforcement's already in place, but it's, our committee at least can be the communicating factor when things are brought before this board. Things that are pretty obvious, then we can use, the committee to facilitate that. I think that would be great. Yes, sir?
Do we have anything on the deed restrictions that's not according to, or in line with the same code enforcement? I haven't seen anything as far as.
That's what Bonnie's gonna study.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's nothing really so far with that, but I know there's a lot of issues with people renting their key. So I think that is in our restrictions, it says you're not allowed to sell or lease your key unless you come into the park with
Right.
people. So I think that's kind of where the groundwork's gonna start there.
Yeah, we need
It's
to.
not gonna happen overnight.
Yeah, we need to have some process that we all adhere to and stick to on that. You know, problem, you have renters and they're bringing in 20 or 25 people, and you've got some folks that own property and they're using it commercially, and they're using their key commercially and making the river accessible to them. Well, that's not fair to folks that bought a property, and the expectation was that this is our property and this is for our use, and so it's not fair at all for anyone to commercialize it. And that's gonna be the other aspect of how we utilize that. Now, we're also, I introduced you to our attorney, and so they're gonna be working with the committee also as needed. It's not gonna be an everyday thing, but as needed, they'll get some guidance from that and how we can facilitate it better, I believe, in the long run. Okay, any other old business, board members? All right, we'll open up the floor to property owners, and we'll let you speak for 2 minutes if you like to the board. So is there anyone that would like to speak to the board and the community? Yes, sir.
I'd like to point out in our deed restrictions that it does say that there's no rentals for less than 4 months out of the year of properties out here. I think that would also apply, obviously, to short-term weekend rentals where they're renting different people every weekend the property along with our keys. And that should be something the committee looks at too. That should be totally enforceable. County's a little different, a little longer. I think it's 6 months maybe or something, but we're, in our restrictions is 4 months as we said as far as I'm gonna be concerned.
That's why we're getting started, so. Okay, any other person like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
I called Terry here. He said to come to the meeting, there's no Jews. Under the articles. And I had Custer,
And ma'am, what is your name?
Lynn Custer,
Lynn Custer?
Custer, yeah.
Custeria.
I used to be on the board, it was back in 97 and 98. I have so much stuff. I have a paper here, Terry, who are you now? I cannot find it. Let me go sit down a second. Excuse me for my 2 minutes.
Just relax, we'll start you over again.
I feel
Yeah,
like
Yes, sir.
I just got a simple question. I know you mentioned the boat ramp and improvements here. Any other big issues, top 2 or 3 issues that y'all are gonna try to tackle in 25 or 26, 27?
We're still looking at the Columbia boat ramp and the Swanee boat ramp to get those repaired,
Right,
and that's complicated, but we're still working on that.
yeah. I saw the,
Okay, Terry,
We
you.
need to repair some of the fence, different places. The fence
Right, yeah, that's in the budget, some of the fence work.
Oh, no,
is part
yeah.
of the budget.
I was just curious what the
That's
next,
pretty much an ongoing thing with the number,
right,
before long, we're not gonna have trees to worry about,
Right.
at the rate they're falling.
I got you, I understand. Well, we keep getting hurricanes like we do,
That's
we'll
true.
wipe us out.
And I'll take a picture with my phone, because I know the library is 10 cents. We got free Wi-Fi. Huh?
Okay, I was looking at a day.
Is that okay? It says after, when I give it, when you do it, you give 10 days. And then-
Yeah.
But if it's not, just let me know, whatever. I say whatever time, and if that day's not good, just let me know.
Okay, I'll call you.
Okay. I did put my phone number on.
Go ahead and make your phone number. I got a pen right here.
Hey, Lynn, are we still using your 2 minutes, or?
Oh, wait a minute. 275. Okay. When I was on the board, I brought this up about those deed restrictions, and everyone said, you just need to be quiet, because you bought before 1990, it doesn't include you. And there's gonna be trouble, because I don't think these things are fair and right, and I said it back then, and, in the Articles of Corporation, it tells it has the name of your corporation. It would say 3 Rivers Estates property owners, period, Inc., period. When there's a period after something, you don't add it on. And from the beginning of 3 Rivers Estates out here, Howard Hodar in 1967 was the subdivider that created it on both sides. And his deed restrictions, he pretty much ran this place. I mean, hunting or the discharge of firearms or other dangerous weapons will be permitted in any area except, will not be permitted in any area except those that are specified by the seller. Well, that probably is illegal by this point. What it is down here on number 12, the use, occupancy, ownership of all land facilities thereon or adjoining is restricted to members of the white or Caucasian race. This was in 67, these were illegal.
That's been changed.
Yes,
No, listen, let me finish, please. So, these were found illegal. And at that time, it was about 1976, Mr. Hodar did not make deed restrictions to fill in where his were illegal. He just left. And he sold his place here. He went away and he deeded he owned the roads, he did the trash, he did everything out here. He deeded all of that over to the county. In Columbia County. I haven't been to Swanee County to look, but in Columbia County, he deeded them everything, together with all tenements, hereditary appurtenances, their own belonging, or anywise appertaining. Everybody who bought from 76 to 1990 was under county ordinance when I bought my property. What he also did was he just quit selling his lots, the A-frame, which is over here now. They left out of there. He had Johnny Johnson, and Jimmy Johnson was in there too helping. But anyway, he gave it to Fort Woodlands over in Gainesville, and they then sold the lots for Hodar, gave him his money, and kept their percentage. Hodar left. Hodar had a chance to make new subdivision rules, deed restrictions, whatever. He handed it over to the county and he left. And in 1980, which was 4 years later, he deeded the parks to the lot owners through our corporation, which is registered. The name of this corporation is Three Rivers Estates Property Owners, period, Inc., period. And things have periods, like I say, after them. And it tells the purpose of the corporation: organize, to own, operate, maintain certain parks, picnic areas, boating areas, community swimming, and recreational areas with all improvements thereunto appertaining, located, and it tells the tracks, Three Rivers and Columbia side up. And then it goes to tell you have the right to purchase, acquire, own, mortgage, pledge, sell. You can read it. It said, go to Sunbiz, type in Three Rivers Estates Property Owners, period, Inc., period, and then you can see these articles there under the filings. And then it goes to say, instrument secure payments, okay, right here it says, as required and to act on behalf of property owners of Three Rivers Estates in matters of community interest. When you're acting on behalf of the, basically it would be the owners of the property owners of Three Rivers Estates. When you're acting on their behalf, that does not mean you have the right to make an HOA. Absolutely not, especially in the context of these articles. It goes and tells you, the first one, I read it. Maintain certain parks, picnic areas, boating. Members of the boards are only able to be members of lot owners out here, they have to be lot owners out here, okay? So, we were deeded these parks. This is what we're supposed to be doing, this HOA thing. In 1990, somebody from Trepo, I guess it was the board, whatever, decided that they had the right to make subdivision deeds. And they said, oh, we're going by paragraph 11 of these illegal, voided deed restrictions. So that is not even allowed to be done. I mean, it's totally false. They had no right. And not only that, I went to Suwannee County, I looked, in 2017, Terry Downs had the nerve to take the restrictions. Now, if you look at those restrictions, it only states all the lots here in this Columbia County side. There's not one thing in there about the lots over on Suwannee County side. It's all up in the Columbia County Courthouse in 1990. Trepo, that board, they did it, put it up there, claiming they could be on as a majority for all lot owners and be an HOA or whatever. You have to be mandatorily, the whole thing shouldn't have even been done. Up here in Suwannee County, I look, in 2017, this Terry Downs crossed off with a pen, crosses off Columbia County and writes Suwannee. I'm like, well, I know that wasn't a lawyer that put that in there. In 2017. Now, that definitely could be knocked out by any judge because it's obviously, it has nothing to do with Suwannee County, period. It just has
And was
all.
Terry Downs acting as a,
I have no idea, but
Because
it was,
Terry Downs wasn't on the board at that time.
I know that.
Okay.
Board members aren't liable for these kinds of things. Mr. Downs, I thought, he better hope he was
Well,
on the
let
board.
me just say this, Lynn, if I can.
Okay.
We presented all of this information to our legal team,
Mhm.
and so we're operating, based on what the legal team has.
This whole, they're under county ordinances over there because there's nothing holding them.
Right, but-
Here, we have been up until that 1990, and like I said,
Right,
the board is being impeded in doing their jobs on keeping those parks that were deeded to all lot owners out here. We are lucky to have this, that we don't have to have an HOA and have everybody have to do all this stuff. You guys have to go to HOA classes. That's a bunch of bull crap. That is not fair, because they're impeding upon our
But
board.
we're right now.
And that, I don't like
Well,
that.
then,
I
let me just-
wanna
I'm
go to
gonna- I'm
court
gonna-
and make the 1990